gorgeous creatures, I'm Sarah Scott and this is the very first episode of the Off the Pole podcast, where I'm going to interview pole dancers and other industry professionals to find out more ways we can train smart so we can dance more. I'm kicking off the first episode with a true icon of the pole community, Jenyne Butterfly. She's a multidisciplined artist who's won national titles in the US, as well as competed, performed and taught workshops all over the world. She now lives in Las Vegas, where she performs in the world-renowned Cirque du Soleil show, NJ1, and she was so insightful in this interview into her day-to-day life, her training, diet, and how she got back to Cirque after having her gorgeous son. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Well, welcome, Jenyne. Thank you so much for doing my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking some time. I've already done a bit of an intro on you, and I know that everyone in the pole industry already knows who you are, unless they've been living under a rock for the past 10 years. But I wondered if we could jump in and give you a bit of time to maybe explain kind of a typical training week or a typical kind of life, a typical week in the life of Jenyne.
Okay, so everything changed when I went to the Cirque du Soleil show. So I kind of had a good, the journey to get here was a lot different than being here. So, and it's usually like that when you have a goal to achieve, and you're trying to like reach deep into your like possibilities of becoming the best that you can be. So when you're trying to grow and get better and stronger and more flexible, then it takes a lot more work than just maintaining. So right now I'm just maintaining by doing the show. It's 10 shows a week.
Wow.
And my 2 days off are Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday is my Monday, and that's when I head into work. And there's usually, for me, it's a lot better than the dancers and everyone else in the show who has a lot more rehearsals because they're in a lot of group numbers. But since I'm a solo act, then I really only have 1 to 2 scheduled rehearsals a week, and then everything else is just on my own. So not having a rehearsal day, I go in at 5 p.m. and then I'm out of there at midnight. So it's a long evening, a lot of hours there, even though most of that isn't actually physical activity. It's a lot of makeup and in between cues and different things like that. But if I have a rehearsal day, I'll go in 2 to 3 hours earlier. And so the days that I'm working, I kind of have to prep food every single day. So I'm not a morning person anymore because I'm getting out of there at midnight, and then I'm not able to go to sleep until 2, sometimes 3. So our house is usually asleep until noon, and then we get up and I really only have enough time to kind of prepare for the workday.
Yeah.
So my weekends get really full with getting things done, just domestic things,
everyday
like
stuff.
normal life stuff. Try to spend some quality time with my son, and I did not too long ago add every Saturday morning I teach at a new studio here called Aerial Athletica, that's being run by Yukari. She's a pole artist that is performing in another Cirque du Soleil show here.
So she understands the schedule quite a lot.
So she understands the schedule, and she has a lot of, company meetings and activities at the studio that she's really forgiving, knowing that not every instructor can usually make it to those, because just adding the Saturday class and keeping that consistent for me has been difficult. If I have a minor injury or something that I'm dealing with and I'm not in the show that night, I can't teach class. I can't do anything outside of the show if I'm not doing the show. So it's but it's fun. I've never had such a normal schedule where everything happens same time, same day, same, just week after week. It's been almost 5 years now.
Yeah, that's insane. It's gone so quick. So quick.
Yeah.
Do you do any other training outside of preparing for the show, or is it, as you say, just maintaining and keeping up with your strength, your flexibility and things like that?
Yeah, I have finally, built a studio here in my house that I just don't get to use yet. It's been really challenging finding and not finding, because the time is always there. It's all a matter of priorities. It's how you organize your time, because it's there. It just needs to get to the top of the list and get done. So I think I have finally got to the place where the Saturday class that I'm teaching is good, and I can stay after 30 minutes or so. So Monday when I go into work, I have usually my rehearsal at work that day. So that's kind of, after a couple of days off, they schedule a rehearsal for me to go in and do show stuff, which is on the curve pole. So that's just for the show. Any extra rehearsals that I put in on the curve pole, it's great for the show, but I can't take it anywhere other than that. It's
not transferable into outside of having a curved pole, which most studios will not have.
No, I wish.
If any.
I
If any.
make
Is it the only one in the world? I think
it is
the only one I've seen.
Yeah, it's the only one, and it's great. I wish I could share it. I wish I could bring it out and have everyone try it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have a plan to start adding now another day. I'd like to get back into more aerial stuff. So I think on top of my Saturdays, I'm gonna shoot for Mondays and Tuesdays to add some trainings before I go into work.
Yeah. It must be really hard to find the balance of it, but is there anything specific like you have to do for a recovery routine? Because obviously you're having to perform at a really high standard, as you say, 10 times a week, which is an insane amount for anybody. Is there specific things that you do to help recover or to make sure your body's kind of staying on top form?
There's, I think cross training is really important, and they do provide really great services at Cirque du Soleil, where we have a strength and conditioning coach who's really your typical gym workouts, nothing specific to circus, or they also offer Pilates, which a lot of the dancers utilize that. But then I work a lot with our performance medicine department. They're physical therapists and athletic trainers that have come from a more sport background, but have been with Cirque du Soleil now for at least twice as long as I have, working with all the artists there. So they're really familiar with wears and tears and injuries. And my shoulder is starting to feel, a lot of the dancers have knees and hip problems, and us as pole dancers and aerialists, we have back and shoulders and, kind of neck and all the tension that we have from hanging and holding our body. So my shoulder is starting to get some minor tears and some overuse and long-term injury stuff. So I found on top of the exercises and really specific acute pressure trigger point therapy manipulation that they're working on, I'm trying to stretch all the muscles in the front area and pull back with my lats. And then on top of that, I found a supplement that I've been taking that's really amazing for sports recovery, repair. It's two different ones actually. One is made with all sea elements. Like I'm sure there's a lot of seaweed and different things like that in there. And the other one is for cartilage and tendons.
Okay.
So I've been taking those, and I'd be happy to share that.
Yeah, maybe we can put a link underneath when I post the video. I'm sure lots of people will be really, really interested in that for sure.
Yeah.
And do you have, you mentioned your diets, you do meal prepping, obviously you don't have a lot of time when you wake up, so you're kind of on the go, you need to be fueling your body correctly. Do you have any specific diet advice that you would give to people that are trying to stay on point with their training, or is it something that is very personal to you and you find that it changes depending on your body's needs?
Yes, I do think that every person is different. Aside from the fact that we're all human and created to function a certain way, I think that just we've evolved so much, and I've tried a lot of different. I've studied ever since, especially meeting my best friend who is, raw vegan chef and very holistic and studied Ayurvedic principles in Bali, and she's really been a wealth of information based on, the theories and the practices that she's been leaning towards. But there are so many, it's hard to know who to listen to and what to believe, between like gluten-free, the paleo, all these different scientists that have
you can look at one thing on the internet and say definitely do it, and then in the next article is like definitely don't do it. So it's difficult to be like I don't know what I want to do.
I think with that, I think the most important thing is just how you feel. How do you feel? Like really try to maybe take a log, like write down a diary and try different methods for a while. Let them, you need to try them to let them really start functioning, and whatever you're cutting from your diet, like let that completely clear your body, and then just pay attention to your energy levels. It's really important that we have a good amount of energy, and so that's what I've based everything on, is how do I feel when I eat this, when I don't eat this. And I found that I feel the best when I'm mostly plant-based in my diet, when I just eat tons of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and nuts and everything that just comes directly from the earth. And that's what makes me personally like feel the best. So
I think intuitively eating is really important, like kind of listening to your body and not just eating for eating's sake, or eating because you think you should eat something, or cutting something out because everyone else is cutting it out. Like I think your own reflection of your diet is really important, like that mindset of it, rather than trying to stick to something that isn't necessarily going to work for you. That's really important. It's good advice.
And I think stress is also a huge part of injury and part of getting sick. It's not good to be really stressed. So if you're stressed about your diet, it could also counter the effects of what you're trying to do. So just try to be happy, and if you want to reward yourself with a cookie every once in a while, then don't stress about it.
Yes, exactly. Well, you said it, so now we all can. So that's if Jenyne said we can eat cookies, we're gonna do it. Do you have any days where you're completely lacking in motivation? Obviously, you're performing in a show, so you're having to put on an act and be, a larger than life character. But are there any days that you completely lack motivation? And are there any kind of tips that you'd say to help pull yourself out of it?
Yes, there are days that I feel like my energy just isn't quite there, or the energy of the cast, around me. It has, the people that you're surrounded with, like maybe everyone else is down or everyone else is complaining, or, how do you balance yourself and just stay, focused? And sometimes the audience isn't giving me anything. Like they're just silent, and
They're
maybe
probably sitting there in awe, but you probably want some applause to what you're doing.
I sometimes they're sleeping. It's like
Well,
they you
they're in
never know.
Vegas, so they might have
They
drunk too
had a
much.
they had a crazy night, they were out at the pool all day. The sun has drained them, or they're on a different time zone. Maybe they literally just landed and just got off the airplane, and that was the only time there were tickets available. So I try not to rely too much on them. I I am doing it for the audience, but I'm also doing it for me, and I think I'm just trying to be always better than I was yesterday. And that's all. I've always been my own biggest competition. I'm not trying to be better than anyone other than myself. So I think I also look at, the 1,800 people that are out there in the audience, and I say to myself, it only takes one person. It only takes one to be really happy, to really appreciate or be inspired by you. And you never know who it is. You never know who's watching. And just last night, Mariah Carey was watching our show, and
Oh my goodness.
I think,
She's going to take up pole dancing and demand a curved pole, and the studio is going to be like, we don't have one. She's going to pull a diva strop and want one.
that would be quite an honor to inspire someone that has inspired me. So, but I'll never forget being in the audience at Cirque, and that feeling that I got, realizing like that was an actual job, and that it could be a career, and that I thought that I could do it, and just that motivation that was in me to get where I am, that comes up almost on a daily basis, and just reminds me that how hard you worked to get here. So enjoy it and make the most of it, because who knows how long I'll stay. I might not. Something might happen tomorrow where it might be my last day that I was ever able to pull. I mean, there are
That's a good way
stories.
to look at a lot of things, like kind of
Yeah.
living in the now rather than always thinking about what could be happening or what better things around the corner. If you appreciate kind of what you've got, and then you're going to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And you've, I don't know if he's still wandering past, but you've got a gorgeous son. Did you? I think he wants to be in the podcast too.
Just always wants to be with mommy, whatever she's doing, including pool.
I bet. After your pregnancy, did you have any struggles getting back to training? Did you take any specific time off, or did you kind of, again, listen kind of intuitively to your body and just take it as it came?
That was actually what the doctor told me, that just listen to your body. So during pregnancy, I performed until I was 4 months in the shows.
Wow.
So
that's insane. Well, the body's an amazing thing. I think we all think that pregnant women just need to shut down, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the case. So that's
Oh,
that's
and
amazing.
that could also be a cultural thing. I think when I was 4 months along, I was showing a little, but not, a lot, and I was able to just squeeze my core and just kind of hold him in. So I remember one of my last days before I decided to leave the show. I'm riding in the elevator for the finale, and there were some of the Japanese guys, the Smooth Criminals, were in the elevator with me, and I'm just relaxed, and my belly was kind of poking out a little bit to where it was, and one of the guys looked over and he went, "Oh!" He noticed, and he said, "Be careful." And I was like, "It's fine, I'm okay, yeah, we're good, see?" And I just kind of squeezed it in a little bit. But I think, and then I learned after I had my child, and then one of the Japanese guys had their baby, they don't even allow the child to leave the home 3 months after being born. It's like such a sacred thing. They just treat it really, really differently, you know? So
In a
what my doctor
protective
said,
bubble.
yes. But what my doctor told me is that you can just continue doing everything that doesn't direct. There's a point when the fetus is comes out and is close. The protection, they're at a large enough size to where they're pretty close, so that if you impacted the belly, that it would actually get to them. But until I think it's 28 weeks or something, you're fine. Anything that, like, they're so small in there that they're protected. And so that was the only, I guess, like, warning sign to stop, having anything that might have a blow to the stomach or something that would be dangerous. But other than that, they said, the dancers after me that had babies went until 5 months in the show, and then they were just showing too much. And that was the only reason that they needed to stop, because there's no danger in dancing. Running, people can run marathons. You can continue doing, this is what the doctor said. So just each case is different. You might be a high risk pregnancy or something different, but each pregnancy, you should be able to continue doing what you do exactly how you do it until you give birth. So not adding new things or trying really risky, there was a certain point, I think, that I just didn't want to be going upside down. What I did was I left the show at 4 months. I continued playing in the studio on the pole until 6 months. And then the last 2 months, I just kind of went slowly declining, just working out in the gym a little, and then just doing mat Pilates and stretching until the week before I was giving birth. I was doing my mat yoga, stretching, kind of exercising, holding planks and things just to kind of, so I just kind of walked down the stairs, like a long, like slow decline, and then the same after giving birth. Luckily, I had no complications. I gave birth naturally at home. Everything went well, and I was able to they say, after everything heals up, you'll know. You just kind of stop, bleeding, and everything's fine, and then you can start activity again. So I went to the gym and just walked on the treadmill, and I'll never forget the first time I tried to do a pull-up after birth, because it actually, as much as I slowly declined, as soon as I tried to do it again, which was only, 2 weeks after birth, I was in the gym. Probably 2 weeks after that, I tried to do a pull-up, and I couldn't even do one.
Your body was like, nope.
I've never had that feeling. I didn't.
No.
After starting pole, because you climb in pole and aerial, I'd never tried a pull-up before. But when you climb, you're using your legs with pole and aerial. So then after starting pole and aerial, I started cross-training and doing more training, and I started doing pull-ups, and I was able to do them always. I was always able to do them after climbing things. So this was the first time I'd experienced that, and I really had a little bit of a panic attack and thought, I'm never going to be the same. What am I going to do? It's gone. I'm done. And I had a just little panic attack, but then I just had faith, and I just kept trying, and it really didn't take very long to get it back. It's not the same as getting it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So instead of just doing a pull-up, just me hanging, I would go into the stretching bar thing that they have, and I would put my feet up, and I would do more of a row. So I had my feet up on the bars, and then, just started rowing myself up into a pull-up position, and it just came back like it was, let's see, so that was 1 month, and then 4 weeks later. I mean, I just kept going back, and it was like every single week, every single time I went, it was like progress, 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 progress. And it just, everything just kind of tightened up and got, you know, quickly. It wasn't, they give you 3 months pregnancy leave, and at 6 weeks, I was already back on the pole in the studio. So then by the time the 3 months or the 12 weeks came, I was ready to go back into the show and run the act. And, you know, just because I slowly inclined and worked out on my own. So it's like...
That's still a quick turnaround, though. You're like, it's just slow and steady, and most of that was like, straight up.
I think knowing that I had that 3 months to go, and then to go back into the show, I didn't want to go back to the show and have that be my first time on the pole. And I was like, no, yeah, I kind of wanted to just be at my own pace and be a little bit more ready. The skin was the worst part, actually. I had never taken a long break from pole. And it was like,
we forget how much it hurts.
I forgot. I have so much more compassion for my students now when they're crying and whimpering about the skin pain. I know now, because it was so years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
I've been pole dancing for 15 years now, so it was...
We're just numb from the chin down, just numb. No feeling in the skin at all. Yeah. You hit a new area and you're like, oh, that's what it feels like for them to sit on the pole for the first time.
I had no crocodile areas at all. My skin was baby soft and beautiful, and
bet you were moisturizing all the time.
Yeah.
Just cut that out. Yeah. Get back on the pole.
Yes, I loved being pregnant. I loved taking the break, but I was anxious to get back. So I did work to get it at that 3 months. Just kind of know that was my... It's good to give yourself goals and dates and things to work towards.
Yeah, especially if you're competitive with yourself. It gives you you're going to try and beat yourself and beat those times and beat those dates. That's good. So I have to kind of finish off, because I know I've kept you for some time already. I've got a quick fire round. So again, I mentioned I gave the group, my Off the Pole Facebook group, a little heads up that I was going to be interviewing you, and I said, are there any questions that you'd like to ask Jenyne? And they fired me like a huge list of questions. Some of them you've already answered within your questions, which has been very helpful. But the quick fire round, so try not to think about it too much. We won't judge you if you say the wrong thing. But first question, do you have a favourite performance of your own, and why? It's a hard one, I know.
Yes,
because they were all listing all their favourite ones of yours, but I don't want to give you any. Help. And it doesn't have to be for like it can be for any reason. It could just be, you know, you liked the song or you liked the audience.
I have 3 because they're all so different, and they're a top pick for a different reason. The one that is probably what I'm most known for, the Dog Days Are Over routine.
That was mentioned, yeah.
That one has a very significant meaning to it. How it was developed, I kind of was, I knew I had been to a pole convention before and known what I was going in for, and I think probably a group of pole dancers is the most nerve-wracking group to perform for.
Definitely.
Even though it really should be the opposite, because they're the most supportive and like loving, wonderful people, and they always, you know, scream and clap, and they know what's good, and it shouldn't be that way, but you always get this feeling like they have expectations, or they know what they'll know when you make a mistake, when maybe a general audience just appreciates anything like a split, you know? So, but I was a little nervous to go for that pole convention, knowing that it was going to be a massive group of pole dancers that I was performing for, and I just had gotten my career to a point where I felt like there was expectation from me, so I wanted to prepare something, which most of my performances are freestyle. I was always at the last minute going and doing bookings and never took any time to choreograph anything and didn't come from a dance background, so not really much of a choreographer. And I would just always freestyle because I like just feeling free, not being put and having, timing or, restrictions or so. But I wanted to prepare something, so I went to the studio and I was kind of had my song, and I had a lot of pressure, and I was just putting pressure on myself, and I was not it was 3 days in, and I was not feeling good about what I was coming up with. And finally that song, the Florence and the Machine song, came on during my warm up, and I started dancing around to it, and it was so fun. And I felt, see, this is what pole dancing is. It's fun. It's like being a kid on a playground and just having fun. Like that's what it should be, and you shouldn't feel pressure or just have. I just wanted to emulate that. I thought, I'm changing my song. I'm just going to do this song and I'm just going to play. And I'm not going to choreograph anything. That's me. That's how I feel the best. And I want to share that like passion and just remind people that it's like the kid in you comes out and you can be playful. So I think that people got that from that performance, and the message that I wanted to say, just that
it was very pure. Like, it was a very pure performance. Like, I think people would be very surprised to know that it was a freestyle performance, because it just seemed to flow so nicely. But that was definitely kind of in the top of the list that everyone started commenting underneath in the thread, saying that was their favorite one. Yeah, it's a great performance. But I'm not going to let you say any more, because we're going to say, what is your favorite trick or combo, if you have one? These are from the group. These are questions people want to know. If you have a favorite trick. This is a hard one, because there are many tricks. Yeah. many tricks. Top of your head. Don't even think about it.
There are too many, I think. My gosh. Mm-hmm. And
freestyling. You could say freestyling, so you don't want to pin yourself down. You could say it's just freestyling, so it's not pinning yourself down to any one answer. You can sit on the fence. We don't mind.
I think, I wouldn't be able to pick one trick. I would be able to pick, a favorite flexible move, or a favorite strength move, or a favorite. I really love doing a nice, fast spinning oversplit Allegra. That will always be fun to me, and I think it just looks really nice, and
that's a good.
It's like a good classic fast spin move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive.
But
what about, who inspires you? Is there anyone that inspires you?
Everybody. Everything.
Constant inspiration.
Yeah, there's inspiration in everything. I think just on my last class on Saturday, we were working on a combo that you kind of lay back in a brass monkey and cross the leg over and get in a Pegasus. And she laid back in the brass monkey and her leg slipped off, and she kind of backflipped and landed on her feet. And then that's all we wanted to do the rest of the class was backflip off the pole out of brass monkey. And it was it was so fun.
Yeah.
I took a video. I was going to post that. I forgot to do that, but
we'll all want to be trying it now.
Yeah. It's just I love finding new creative things from mistakes. I think my students have been the ones that have inspired me the most. But usually it's music that, makes me want to move a certain way. And if a song can really get me letting go, if I'm like out of my mind and just in my body, then freestyle things will come out. So I think music is really important for what we do.
What about favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. Um, I have I have a few. Also, I'm really bad with favorites. I just
It's
like
okay.
so much.
You're allowed.
Um,
It's all right.
it's hard to compare an action movie, to I don't even have a favorite genre, like type of movie, but um, I think the ones that just like there's movies that just impact me a lot. And not really a lot of new ones. Like my first favorite movie was Pretty Woman. Oh my gosh, like that was such a great movie. And then I
Still a great
really loved,
movie.
yes, I loved City of Angels. And Nicolas Cage came to watch our show also, and I was like kind of fanned out because I loved that movie, City of Angels. And then when The Matrix came out, I was like mind blown. Like what a crazy concept to
Yeah.
The Giver. I don't even remember what that is now, but I guess he said I really liked that one.
The one when they didn't see colors or they didn't know.
Oh yeah, The Giver.
I
Yeah,
don't
that
think
was.
I've seen that one.
Oh,
That's
The
one
Giver,
I'm
and
always
then
looking for new movies. I'm gonna have to watch
I
that one.
recently saw Lucy, and I was like, whoa, that I couldn't sleep that night. There's just movies
Intense.
that have an impact.
Not as serious this one. Well, maybe it is the most serious question. I don't know. You'll have to decide. What is your favorite pig out food?
Pig out food.
Cookies.
I am a baked goods. Yes, definitely. Like baked goods are a huge like weakness for me. Not so much, like candy or things like that, but baked goods and ice cream and pizza. I love all those things.
Okay. I feel like you're not answering with one answer. I feel like this is a
No,
theme. You
never.
kind of
I know.
slip in
Sorry.
like three. No, that's okay. All right. What about this one? Which Disney princess would you be?
Oh, I remember you. Yes, you wrote that question. Um,
I
I
tried to give
think
you a heads up so you could think about this. If
yes,
someone asked me that, I would
and
have no clue.
I did write down all of my answers one night that I was at work waiting for my next cue. I think I really, it's got to be like Moana. Just, it's so great that the movie was just about her being, like strong and a leader and caring about her people. And I loved her with like nature. There was no like Prince Charming, it was just like
She didn't need one.
about,
She's
no,
fine.
exactly.
She's an independent woman. She's fine.
She's just beautiful, and I love her island hair.
Well, we all want island hair.
Yeah.
Would you or do you follow any other workout routines aside from pole dancing? We kind of covered that earlier, but is there anything else? You've mentioned Pilates and yoga a few times. Is that something that you try and do regularly?
Yeah, I'm not a Pilates person. I do really love yoga. Like, love yoga. I just find that's one of the things, like, you have to make time for it, because it's like I only have so many like hours that I can train now that I'm at the show 5 days a week for up to 10 hours a day. So the yoga has really, and being a mom, that's kind of slipped from my life, but probably when I need it the most, because that shavasana at the end, that meditation, that really the way that it's like mind and body, it is the best thing for anyone. I think it's so balanced, one side and the other side. That's something that pole dancers need. I saw the funniest meme the other day that was like a huge crab arm and then a really tiny arm. It's like I really need to do my bad side more often. Pole dancers be like,
Yes, we are all guilty of that sometimes. And this was, again, probably one of the most requested questions. Are you planning on touring again? Specifically the UK and Europe, because obviously in the US they have a bit more access to you with your class in Vegas now. And you can always say, to be continued, if you don't want to answer that question. But yeah, you've got a lot of requests. Everyone misses you over in Europe.
I have big plans to travel again, and I'm very excited to share my project with the world, and it will hopefully be happening very soon. And can't really give a lot of information yet,
no, that's
but
fine. It's good to end on a teaser. Keeps them coming back for more. Then they'll keep checking in and seeing if you've released it. So no, that's fine. I think that'll please many people that you've got something in the works. So
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to answer all these questions. I know we ran over a little bit, but it was all just good stuff, and I wanted just to listen to you talk and drop your knowledge bombs. So I appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully I haven't taken up too much of your free time, because you probably have to go to work soon. So yes. So thank you very much, Jenyne, and yeah, hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Okay, bye.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed my interview with the lovely Jenyne. Make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the upcoming podcasts I've got for you. All of the podcasts you can also find transcribed as blogs on offthepole.co.uk.